following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
We have Mike from Chicago on the line, and he has a question about digestion.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, guys. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
First of all, I just wanted to say that I love the show. I think it's great programming, and I'm very much of a like mind when it comes to, taking control of your own health and certainly doing your own research.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico Haan and Paige Clarke.
Happy Friday, and welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to a more balanced and wild world to take back control of our personal choices, health, and freedoms. I'm Nico Haan.
And I'm Paige Clarke. Hello, everybody.
It's a beautiful day here in downtown Clearwater. It's about 82 degrees, going to up about 85, but people are heading to the beach. It's nice. Folks, please subscribe to my Health Signals newsletter. You'll get a lot of information about what we're really talking about and find some ways really to do your own research in depth.
And what's really cool about the newsletter is we include so many links to things that we reference there. So it's a very handy, well-done newsletter that will keep you up to date on all the latest in taking responsibility for your own health, because that's what we're here to do.
Yes, indeed. And please pick up some Primal Edge. Got some sitting right in front of us here, and that's a daily supplement that you can get to supplement some of those things that we might not be getting in our modern world.
And we've worked with formulators to create a formula that actually includes what some refer to as nature's miracle molecule, and that's the wonder of fulvic and humic acids. I'm working on a little ebook, so that'll be available soon to really explain the power of that for people. So in the meantime, those of you that are a part of the Tiger group, from what I understand, our fearless leader has made it possible for you to use Tiger dollars to get going on the Primal Edge. So make sure you get yourself and your loved ones on this wonderful product. Yeah, and we're taking your phone calls at 877-927-6648. And we talk about living a primal lifestyle here on this show, and as many of you know, that our ancestral ancestors actually
ancient ancestors.
Yeah, our ancient ancestors actually practiced nighttime fasting or fasting periods, not necessarily out of a conscious choice, but out of a necessity. They would find food, and then there'd be some time in between. Yeah,
we talked last week about how probably maybe one meal was the norm for many, many years, thousands of years perhaps, maybe a little bit more than that. But then that would automatically put you into fasting, have a mid-afternoon meal, and that would be enough for you, and you'd be happy.
Folks, we eat too much. We eat too much, and we eat too often, and that's what the research is showing.
And we eat the wrong stuff.
Right.
So three things right there.
Yeah, the wrong stuff, too often, and too much at a certain sitting. And so, this article came across our feed that indicates that practicing nighttime fasting and increasing that period of fasting helps to decrease breast cancer risks. And I think it's really the study encourages women to reduce the amount of time spent eating at night and increase nighttime fasting hours. Overnight fasting reduces glucose levels and was found to also reduce the risk of breast cancer among women. So this is not really new information to those of you that have been listening. We're all about decreasing that average level of insulin in the blood. And
the insulin is only increased because the sugar is there.
Yeah,
the refined food is there.
Correct. You're eating refined foods. The insulin is there to be the escort into the cell. One of the reasons I try and explain to my coaching clients is that periodically, when we eat a lot of meals, the people that are doing more of that grazing fitness approach, I call it.
Yeah. Eating five
to six meals a day, they're constantly staying at a higher insulin level. They've accomplished something of stopping the swings between hypoglycemia, but what that tells me, if you're suffering from hypoglycemia, you already have sugar. You already have sugar dysregulation.
And just think about it, if you're a grazer, you're more likely to be eating carbohydrates, and maybe refined ones, or even maybe in liquid form, which is highly refined. And so you can see how that gets into trouble with your insulin. And somebody told me a long time ago, I think it was Nora Gagatas, that insulin is the emergency hormone.
Correct. It's
to
a
be
stress
used.
hormone.
Yeah.
It's an emergency hormone to clear the blood of excess glucose.
Yeah, and if you got that fire engine coming to your house every single day, day after day, there's a real problem.
Or
there.
you're eating a lot of, 6 times a day, and it's always including some grains because you think you need them for energy.
Yeah.
Your overall insulin level is staying higher than a fat burner who has their sugar levels go like this, but they're more constant. They don't dip as far. And that brings us back into the point that those of us that are part of the biofield research group, we're realizing that we are at, take this note down, folks, and apply it. We are at maximum insulin resistance until approximately 3 in the afternoon, meaning that anything you eat with sugar, including fruits, is going to create blood sugar issues for you. What does the great American people do? They eat bagels, cereals, pastas, pastries in the mornings and for lunches. We are at maximum
Especially children.
Yes, yeah. We're starting them out wrong.
Yeah, we are.
We are at maximum insulin sensitivity 3 in the afternoon afterwards. So quite frankly, our historical thing of having that accidentally eating a dessert or something might not have as much of an impact if it's done after the dinner meal.
Sure.
I like to liken it to European traditions of coffee and cake or tea and crumpets.
Yeah.
They're doing this at 3 in the afternoon.
Yes.
Their bodies are able to respond to this insulin. This is chronobiology, health chronobiology. I'm very fascinated with that. So, start applying those tips.
And, this is what we've said all along, is I eat my carbs in the afternoon, and usually late afternoon, usually after 3 o'clock. And it really keeps everything level. And this whole concept, and this is not so much about sleep as it is about the problem that we have in our society with eating refined foods.
And that's a great point. It says going back to this article, for every 3 hours of nighttime fasting, you can lower your postprandial glucose level by 4%. So as I'm working with some of my people, we're working to increase those amount of hours. Remember how we talked a little bit about we're increasing our hours of fasting, so maybe you try and set new rules. I eat my dinners at 6, and I don't have anything until lunchtime the next day.
Yeah,
you
pretty
have
much the
waters
same,
and teas.
Right.
You're increasing, so you're creating a fasting period every day. The body has a lot of opportunity, guys, to do its own self-repair and housekeeping. So let's start taking this new research and applying it for our best health.
Yeah, I like that research. And there's another research, of course, we're always talking about sleep. And, I know the Bulletproof guy. Yeah. He talks always about hacking the sleep. And that's kind of a modern term for trying to getting our body to figure out what's natural for us in a way, because it's ruined by so many of the modern things that we do that aren't good for us. Number one is track your sleep. And I don't do this, but nowadays we're kind of lucky because we have a lot of devices that can do this for you and really give you some detailed information.
Yeah, I've been really kind of sitting on the fence on some of those devices because, again, I really like to disconnect from my electronics.
I agree
but it's
with
kind
you
of
there,
like, sleep is one of the cornerstones of great health. And one of the first things that I do with coaching clients is work to restore great sleep.
Yeah.
Because the body needs great sleep to balance hormones and repair.
Yeah.
But what I liked about this is something you guys might want to check out. I haven't gotten it myself yet, but it's the Zen Tech screen. It's a film, I believe, that you apply to your iPhones and iPads, which technically you should try to put those away into the evening.
That would be better. But that's kind of like the eFlux for the computer.
Or the eFlux, yeah. It cuts out the blue spectrum.
Right.
And folks, let's talk about the blue spectrum of light. You've heard many of us, because Nico and I are very interested not just in our physical health, but our spiritual, psycho-spiritual health. And we know that melatonin, the hormone secreted by our pineal gland, the seat of our consciousness, our connection to our higher self, melatonin is that hormone. And that hormone is greatly under siege with electromagnetic stress and computers that we're exposed to and the blue light. So we're going to talk more about Walter Peripoli is an Italian researcher who has really done some great research on the power of melatonin as not just an anti-aging but almost a necessary antioxidant because it crosses the blood-brain barrier to protect us from all these EMFs.
Yeah.
But your first step is to improve your sleeping environment.
Yeah, that's for sure. And that's making the room as dark as possible, getting all the light out of there. That would be the most optimum thing you could do.
I mean, literally stick a sock on it. You know what I'm talking? If you're looking in your room and you see that little alarm clock of yours and it's got a blue neon.
I turn mine away.
Yeah,
so
turn
it's
it
not
away,
looking
put
at.
something over it.
Because I wake up naturally anyway. Another part is that you should develop kind of a little routine.
Yes.
Maybe as much as 2 hours before if you have trouble sleeping, but at least I do mine about 45 minutes to an hour before.
Have
I
some
start my
chamomile
little
tea with a
yeah,
little-
whatever you want to do. I lay on a pad. I get a little massage.
We like our pads.
I do things like that. So those things all help. And of course, one of the things is if you're an active person, you have to kind of detune. So you don't want to exercise up to about 3, maybe 2 hours, I would say, is good enough. Don't start doing push-ups before you go to bed, in other words. That just doesn't make any sense. And there are things like my mother always told me that the hours before midnight were worth 2 hours.
You got it, because chronobiology again, our physiology is set up. We have schedules.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a schedule set. Just like I told you, if you're waking up between 1 and 3, that's the liver. And the liver is saying, I'm not happy because you're not digesting your food. The liver is the second to last organ of resort. And the liver says, thanks a lot. You just dumped a bunch of crap on me and I'm going to wake you up. And, if we're not getting 5 straight hours of sleep, the adrenal glands are not happy. We're not getting, and it's those hours between 10 and 2 that our bodies are designed to secrete human growth hormone, and that's very important to those of us over 40.
I noticed the difference just from, I'm watching the hockey games now, and I tend to stay up an hour or 2 later, and I notice the difference when I wake up. It takes me a little bit longer to get my wits about me, where I feel great again, because usually it's 10 minutes after I wake up, I'm fine. But then this might be 45 minutes to an hour, and all of a sudden, I'm feeling good again.
I'm sure some of you guys are night owls too. I mean, I struggle with that because for some reason after the busy day, I sort of feel like that's my time. But I've been really negotiating with myself and saying, whatever it is I'm reading right now at 11, I could easily go to sleep at 10, wake up at 5, and read it between 5 and 6. So, make those agreements with yourself. Sometimes
And
it
reading
takes.
is a nice thing to do before going to bed too.
Yeah, except that if you're reading on your computers, if you don't have that protection.
But on your iPad, my wife is reading and she's using the black screen.
Oh, okay. So there's tips.
So it seems to work for her.
Yeah.
The basic thing about these 2 things, about fasting before you go to bed and the sleeping, this is not going to cost you anything.
Yeah.
You're saving money. These are things that are still free today. Maybe someday they'll put a tax on that. But
you never know.
Only in the hotels right now.
They're trying to put a tax on the breathing, right?
Yeah, they are.
Well, folks, if you don't subscribe to the newsletter, take a moment and subscribe to the Health Signals newsletter. We get feedback that it's one of the best investments people are making. You can stay current on what we're talking about and how we're moving and shaking and trying to bring information, because we are to be our own best healers. We are the ones that can fix us. We are the ones who we're waiting for. We need to get the information. We need to apply it. Create our own.
Well put. I love
create
it.
our own health.
Number here is 877-927-6648. So Paige and I will be right back. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
You take a hands-on approach to managing your investments, and whether you're bullish or bearish on Chinese stocks, the ETFs from Direction Shares are there to help you magnify your perspective. Bull ETFs for a rising market and bear ETFs for a falling market. Direction Shares gives you the tools for both sides of the trade. Discover how we can help at DirectionShares.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction Shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors employing dynamic strategies. Investors in the fund should understand the consequences of seeking daily investment results, understand the risk of shorting, and intend to actively monitor and manage their investments. Distributor Foresight Fund Services, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And welcome back. I'm Paige Clarke, and I'm with Nico and Haan. We're living a primal lifestyle. And
Yes.
Nico, I want to ask you.
Yep.
You know, we kind of cover a lot of stuff here, and that's what makes this show so much fun. But what happens when you challenge mainstream ancient history? And many of us may know, those of you that have listened, we've talked a little bit about author Graham Hancock. He's in the news recently. He's again being shunned by mainstream thinkers for his compelling ideas on the history of the world. And I know that there was a big event that happened
and this
this
was
week.
planned for over a year.
Yeah, this big debate. And let me just lay it out, and then I want you to explain it to us, because I think you're more up to date. Graham Hancock and a famous Egyptian Egyptologist.
Yeah, Hawass. He's in charge of all that is Egypt as far as the ancient history. And they've already defined what the timeline is, and that they know everything and nothing new is to be discovered. Whereas people like Graham Hancock, and there are many others, Robert Duvall, and there's many people that have said that we think there might
be a little another story.
Yeah, there might be another story, and there's never been anything found beyond like 5,000 or 6,000 years ago, except hunter and gatherer societies. And Dr. Hawass, who was in charge of this thing, has always said, this is the history, and if you know about the history of Egypt and who built the pyramids, it's all laid out there, and we know what everybody built. But then we could get along with Graham Hancock, and they come up with this so-called wild theory until you start delving into it.
Well, there were people that thought it was a wild theory that the Earth would be round instead of flat.
No doubt about it.
I have a very open perspective perspective, and so I'm interested. Tell me more.
Okay, so what happens is, and this is the second time this happened. The first time was in 1999. And what we're talking about, folks, is if we look on a telestrator, we're talking about the pyramids of Egypt here. And at one point, Robert Duvall and his guide were sitting looking at the pyramids somewhere. They were traveling to see them, and they were looking up in the sky, and the guide says, you know, the stars of the Orion's belt, which
Correct.
is the Sirius constellation, has 3 stars in it that look an awful like the pyramids.
And my
in fact,
understanding
there
is
2, you know, one large one a little bit smaller, and then the real small ones. And if you look closely, there's 3 other ones that are there too. And he correlated to that belt. And what happened is they went on the computer and said, well, this kind of looks like it, but it doesn't correlate unless you move the timeline back. So they started shifting the timeline back, and when everything lines up perfectly, it's 10,500 years ago. So
10,500 years ago,
which puts it
the
in
stars,
97 BC.
The
or
stars
95
in that
BC.
constellation
Yeah.
were exactly on the same coordinates as these pyramids.
But that's not the end of the story. Now, if you take the Sphinx and you line that up with Leo, the lion, which we think the Sphinx was Leo at first, it also lines up at that exact date. But then you take Anwar in the Philippines, okay, or New Guinea, wherever this is Cambodia, right?
Yeah.
No, okay.
No, well, I don't know.
So you lined up with the stars above that, and they line up, but only at the year 10,500 years ago. And you're taking all these monuments. It happens all over the world with these monuments. So Graham Hancock has come up with this theory, and for many, many years, I read his books, Fingerprints of the Gods, and he says, I think we're a species of amnesia. I think there was a civilization here, something wiped them out, maybe like the Great Flood or whatever catastrophe happened. We have ice ages to blame. We got lots of things to blame. And the new, you know, all this technology that is with the pyramids is lost technology. We don't even know how they were built. We can't properly build them today, and that goes along with all these different things. But the interesting thing is that just recently, in the last decade, we found another site in Turkey that is now guaranteed over 12,000 years ago. So they went to Hawass and says, let's discuss this, let's have an open debate, which they did in 1999. And in fact, if, let's see, just go down here in the chart. This is a Facebook page, but you'll see Robert Duvall has the thing right
debate
here.
of the century, the pyramids,
1999. And here he is, Dr. Hawass is in there, but also all these people that we're talking about have alternative views. And all they wanted to do was have the debate between the two of them, say, this is your theory, this is my theory, at least now people can decide for themselves. What happened, Dr. Hawass saw Hancock in there putting his slides up and saw what he was going to be talking about and said, you're not talking about Hancock, you're not talking about Duvall, I don't like these people, these ideas are wrong, I'll never discuss this stuff with you.
So for the listeners, what does Hawass, what's the synopsis of what he says?
Well, he says that basically the world is 5,000 years old.
5,000 years old and slaves built it.
Yeah, slaves built it, not necessarily slaves, because they've already determined that there was feeding areas and these people were working for pride. So not necessarily slaves, but that the people built it and it was built less than 5,000 years ago. So that's the discrepancy. We have seen technology, well, we're on a break, so let's continue this a little bit.
If you guys have any thoughts on that.
877-927-6648.
I get goosebumps thinking about that.
Well, I enjoy it.
Yeah, me too.
You've heard Nico Haan as co-host of Living a Primal Lifestyle, which airs every Friday at noon Eastern Time on TFNN, and would like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8888 8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
No matter where you listen to TFNN programming, we want you to know you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones and iPads, located at the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a mobile connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all of our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and radio call and talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com. Educating investors. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back to the show, folks. Nico and Paige here on Living a Primal Lifestyle. You know, we're talking about Graham Hancock and Robert Duvall and Dr. Hawass from Egypt. And the basic thing is, and I'm going to put some links in the next newsletter, but I don't want to spend too much more time on it. Basically, Hawass says, we've already discovered everything there is to know about history, and the other parties are saying there's a lot more that we probably don't know, and here's an alternative view. Why not discuss it and why it makes sense, and let people decide for themselves.
And this is a pattern.
Yeah, and this is a pattern that Hawass has had, and many people who are stuck in the one-frame mind saying, we already know things.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This is a pattern that we see in traditional medicine.
Yes.
We see this in traditional government.
Yeah.
We see this in traditional science. And I'm saying I want to hear.
Of course.
And I will decide what the truth is.
Right, and why wouldn't you want people, I mean, if you're a free society, and Egypt, of course, is not, and Hawass wants to keep the lid on what is going on in there, and many times when people discover something, he'll close down the site until he goes in there and decides what is presented and what is not presented.
Well, there's
so
people
it's unfortunate.
that have a vested interest in making sure that
well, it's his livelihood.
Right.
And he gets paid for this, and if he was any indication that he may be off, he could be out of a job. In Egypt, Egypt. Where here in the United States, you may not have that problem. You know, I mean, there's a lot of things going on. I mean, I've seen all kinds of things about anthropology down in Mexico, where they found bodies and things in you know, that were thousands and thousands of years beyond the Clovis people. And, you know, the government shuts it down. So, you know, this is not helpful
the censorship,
in any way.
censorship of information, just like as I told you, as everyone knows, I'm very passionate about everyone knowing and embracing the dangers of water fluoridation. And I think it was just this week that, you know, we've had some very mainstream Newsweek magazines publishing this is not right.
Right.
So it's about opening up and getting new information, and this is happening all over the world, and it's going to continue. So let's talk a little bit about this. Vitamin A under attack down under. It appears that down in the southern hemisphere, a new book of paleo recipes for kids, real cute title called Bubba Yum Yum, the Paleo Way, it's kind of shaking some people up, namely the Dietetics Association, also known as registered dietitians, who, again, same sort of thing, get upset when information contrary to the status quo or the traditional belief is exposed. Many of you may be aware that we have seen research in this country that says beware of beta carotene, could cause lung cancer. Beware of vitamin E, it's dangerous. Beware of this vitamin A, you can overdose. Folks, this research is often done on key nutrients that we need, but these tests were done on synthetic versions. And you know how we feel about that. On synthetic versions, which this would be totally possible. But what I liked about this article is that, you know, we've got some parents that are really making a movement to try and raise their children on whole foods, which is really what the paleo, primal, traditional, ancestral, give it whatever name floats your boat. You know, these are people who are learning to eat traditional foods, nutrient-dense foods, particularly in the fat-soluble vitamins.
And this is where that vitamin A comes in.
Yeah, exactly.
Because those oils and everything have vitamin A in them.
Yeah, let me give you a little outline of this. This particular mother who wrote this book with a famous popular celebrity chef in the area wrote the book as a joint venture. Her son was definitely, you would be considered extremely sensory processing integration issues that fell into the autistic spectrum. And she began implementing whole food nutritious diets based on traditional work, the likes of Weston A. Price, one of our heroes here. And tremendous improvement in her son's health and turnaround in his health. And the book featured a special recipe that she bottle-fed her son. It happened to contain both quality-sourced liver and healthy, nourishing, mineral-rich bone broth, plus some other nutritional ingredients. And this was a recipe more than ever any other that helped transform the health of her once unreachable son. And of course, at this point, the Dietetic Association of Australia, the DAA, triggered a firestorm of public controversy, you know, threatening that the baby may die. Again, these folks need to wake up to the truth and information.
Not only there, what's the government doing, or any organization doing, interfering with a parent and a child? This really ticks me off, because there's the same thing kind of happening in California, where these kids who were like, I think 6 and 8 years old, walking home from school, and 2 blocks away, somebody saw the 2 kids walking alone and calls the police. The police pick the kids up like a block and a half from their home, saying, what are you doing here? Well, we're walking home, and there's our home right over there. No, they take them to the police station. Don't call the parents. The kids are asking, please call our parents, you know, because now they're expecting us home.
Now the parents are freaking.
And now the parents are going up and down the street. They're going to school trying to find the kids. It was 3 hours later when the police decide to call the parents, and now are cussing the parents out for not being good parents. You know, when I was a kid, I walked miles to school. I remember going through the woods to get to school, to get to the YMCA. You know, we're being really overprotective here, and you know, we should start getting to know where our kids are going, for sure, but give them some latitude. Let them know how to take care of themselves. Yeah, we do live in a different world, but I mean, this is getting ridiculous. We have to let the parents decide. We can't let the government, the police, interfere by saying, just because you're allowing your child to walk home, or you're feeding them a certain thing, that
And natural foods, actually.
Natural foods in this case, yeah. But even, I mean, look at all the people that are feeding crap food to their kids.
Well, I mean,
are they getting arrested or something? Nothing?
No. I mean, it just infuriates me. I think about the lawsuits against the cherry growers, the lawsuits against the walnut growers, when they stated evidence-based research that showed natural vitamin E was cardioprotective, that cherries reduced inflammation. Yet the government, the FDA, sue them, these cherry growers, farmers, would you, saying they cannot make a medical claim or else they are a drug. And then I walk down, I mean, I just get steam out of my ears. I walk down the supermarket, the mausoleum of dead food and the food-like merchandise, and I see Cheerios, GMO, by the way,
yeah, exactly.
saying part of a cardioprotective diet.
Yeah.
Now, how in the world are these food companies allowed to do this and these food growers can't? You know, don't mean to digress, but let's get back to our paper here.
Well, let me interject with one thing, because I remember when I went for a hernia operation years ago, they told me, you know, and we can't say vitamin E does this and this is good for you, but the doctor or the nurse will say, don't take any vitamin E before your operation because it'll thin your blood. You know, I always took many hits of vitamin E before an operation. Doesn't do anything. There's no problem, you know. So how did they become the experts, and how come they can say things and we can't? Or even a nutritionist in this can't?
I know, it's crazy, and we've got to start taking back control. You know, nobody heals you. You heal yourself. Healing is a self job. And you do it by getting information. You become empowered with information, and you empower yourself with natural substances, and the body can do amazing things. But I want to talk about the fat-soluble nutrients, okay? Because these have been so vilified, yet I think they are so conspicuously absent in our American diet today that this could be very well why we're seeing so many of the issues that we see today. And I'm really for this group down south here that in the southern hemisphere that has come up with this book, and I really have a dream and a passion that I want to find some way, even as a ministry or something, to reach out to start reaching young parents and teaching them how to eat, because nobody's teaching our young people how to eat. Traditional cultures would take a young couple and they'd confine them even and feed them caviar and fish roe and lots of fresh dairy to make sure they were getting all those fat-soluble nutrients to ensure that they had a lesser, you know, risk of birth defects and to produce a better, healthier offspring. So it is true, folks, that it is the rich organ meats that and the animal fats that are rich sources of the preformed vitamin A. Do not be misled by the idea that, you know, beta-carotene is the vitamin A. Folks, it's not. And if you have thyroid disorders, I have had clients who are vegan, vegetarians, who come to see me. They got nice, you know, they eat lots of carrots and they think they're getting their vitamin A. They got orange palms because they're not processing their beta-carotene. This has nothing to do with the true form of vitamin A. You know,
the whole thing is amazing because, you know, they're trying to stop us from having a good source of these vitamins and minerals. At the same time, they load the other processed foods with all kinds of things that are not good. And I found an article, 5 ingredients that should have never been approved by the FDA. And you're wondering, are you eating these things?
Oh, but boy, you know, they're worried about us if we start to get, you know, if you really stopped and think about it, you'd say, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Why are they warning us about natural foods? Why are they raiding raw dairy farmers, and yet we're passing these frankenfoods?
Yeah, so the first thing is sulfites on fresh vegetables. This was already banned in 1986, but we still find that the FDA finally has banned it on fresh produce, but has not banned it on produce that is frozen.
Yeah.
And not banned it on canned and things like that.
You know, we have something really kind of cool. Just while you're on that, it popped into my head. We have a product that I love to add to my water. It's called Polar Mints. It's part of my premier research group's bioenergetic formulas, and it's called Polar Mints. It's a mineral concentrate from Antarctic seawater, so it's pure and pristine. And Dr. Marshall explains to us that we can actually remove synthetic NPK phosphorus by just soaking half a teaspoon in a gallon of water, put our produce in it, and it removes these synthetic and it may actually be the sulfites as well, as well. But that's another point. That's a great tip, to try and make sure we get some of these synthetic chemicals off of our produce and actually get the very hard to get organic phosphorus we're missing.
Other thing they mentioned is
red dye number 3.
Yeah, artificial coloring, of course, banned from cosmetics in 1990, but it's still approved in foods. Does that make any sense? No. If you're sensitive enough to have it in your cosmetics, and you can say, "Nah, I'm not going to use that in cosmetics, but let me eat some of this stuff."
Yeah, it says it was in animal studies. The FDA banned it from cosmetics in 1990, but it's still in our food. You'll find it in chewing gum. Just think about colors. Remember strawberry milk, quick milk? Look at that.
In fact, they have a little list of all these are the good food. Of course, we do not eat any of these foods.
No, that's not part of our paleo, primal, ancestral, traditional, natural diet that we.
No. And the third thing is partially hydrogenated oils. These are what they call the
trans fats.
Yeah, trans fat, but they call them vegetable oils.
Yes.
They're the clear oils. They're all those oils that you see in the middle aisles.
A lot of people feel like if they're not eating the oils in the middle on the Frankenfood aisle of the oils, they think they're liquid oils. But remember, those boxes and packages and so forth of crackers and cookies and so forth, usually the first couple ingredients say partially hydrogenated oils. Those are there. And folks, they're bad news.
According to the CDC, up to 7,000 deaths and 20,000 heart attacks per year because of the artificial trans fat in your diet, the stuff that they're advertising on TV.
Our biofield research group is saying everyone needs to take a 90-day oil holiday. We need an oil change.
Let's explain that, because you brought this to me a couple of weeks ago, and I think it's a fantastic idea. And even though, in Bulletproof Coffee or the Tiger Brew, I'm using MCT oil, which I know is a manufactured oil, this is a good idea to, kind of stick to the natural oils that the animals or vegetables and things produce for us. The oil in if you're taking olive oil, it's not as good as taking the olive.
Yeah, good, better, best, right?
Right.
So, that's the neat thing. You and I have agreed here that we don't have all the answers. We're here exploring, but we're willing to change our mind if we think the truth can make a difference in your health and our health.
No doubt about it.
And so one of the things that I'm evaluating is some of the research we've done in our research group is that the longest-lived cultures, the longitarians, this will be coming out in Dr. Marshall's book, The Biofield Diet. Some of his research suggests that none of the long-lived cultures included refined oils, even the so-called healthy oils. Folks, yes, that includes coconut oil. That includes olive oil, even the best, even the not fake olive oil that you may be getting because you're ordering it out of Greece. Folks, the longest-lived people didn't have access to a bottle of olive oil or to MCT oil.
No, they ate mainly from animals. Yeah, they ate the coconut, they ate all the fruits and vegetables and things like that. But what they did do, they used extra fat from their animals.
They ate the fats that were naturally occurring, the fat in the avocado, not the bottle of avocado oil. The fat of the
yak or the pig or the bull or whatever you're using, or the llama. They used this in the milk. They used it in the butter. And this is where the Bulletproof
butter is a whole food.
Yeah, Dave Asprey. Yeah, it's a whole food, and it's a food from an animal, and it's so yak butter was used in the tea in the mountains of Tibet, and that's where he got the idea for it. He says, everywhere I'm going, indigenous people are supplementing their meals with extra fat, and this was a nice convenient way, and certainly in our modern society it's a very convenient way for me to add fat into it.
So I'm kind of questioning maybe some of the additional MCT oil. So I've modified my Tiger Brew to be cream, raw cream, or raw butter, and grass-fed butter.
I'm going to try it too. I think it's a good idea. And this is how we kind of hack ourselves and find out if things work and how we feel.
And we'll keep you posted on all the latest stuff.
That's for sure. Got another segment left, so give us a call, 877-927-6648. We'll be right back. Good.
You know what's cool?
taking something that's good for you, something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Do you know the 7 most critical factors that influence every decision you make, and how not knowing these will jeopardize the health, the wealth, and the relationships you deserve? I'm Steve Rhodes, morning host at TFNN.com, and for the last quarter of a century, I've studied and used the secrets of human growth, the same formulas used by leaders of nations, billionaires and millionaires, and the most successful athletes on the planet. Would you like to break through any obstacle that gets in between you and the success you deserve? Would you like to turn fear into strength? If you could find a way to achieve, be fulfilled, and live a life of meaning, wouldn't you want to know the answer? I'll teach you the factors that control your state of mind and the drivers that impact every thought, emotion, behavior, and action we take in my new webinar, The Psychology of Trading. Join me for this 2-part online event where I'll unveil the secrets to human pattern recognition, because they're not what you think. And soon, you'll have the health, the wealth, and the relationships you deserve. Just go to the homepage of TFNN.com and click on The Psychology of Trading to begin your journey now.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. You know, everybody's body is brimming with bacteria, and these microbes do plenty of good things like building our immune system, helping digestion. But
Yeah, there's 10 times more bacteria in our bodies than we have human cells.
Really?
That's a pretty big number, guys.
That's a big number. And then this study was actually done in South America. These villagers, and this was, they were secluded from the outside world completely until 2009. And they were just, you know, what the study shows suggests that pre-modern human microbiota was composed of a greater diversity of bacteria and greater diversity of bacteria functions when compared to populations impacted by modern practices such as
We've
processed
just messed,
foods.
we've messed up our microbiota, often referred to
and
as the
this is
second brain.
really the
Part of the immune system.
Yeah, well, it's the heart of what we talk about all the time. Is our immune system is screwed up by the way we eat, the way we live, the way our environment has changed. And we need to get back to our pristine, beautiful world that was here at one time.
Right.
So, really the question is, how do we go back to this? And what my claim is that we go back to it by doing it ourselves.
We have to rewild ourselves.
Rewild ourselves, start eating locally, seasonally,
consciously,
and start spreading the news that way. You do it for yourself, you do it for your family, and try to spread it outwardly. There's a whole movement going on here that's exploring this, and this is so important, I think, to the future of the human race as we know it today, because things are moving fast. Our modern world is expanding, and pretty soon we're not going to have that pristine world. I was watching Survivor Man the other day, and he's doing a whole thing on Bigfoot, which is very fascinating to me too. And they go out to these places in northern Canada and I'm telling you, there's just wilderness and wilderness out there. And what is the amazing part? These guys go in there and they wonder why they're not seeing Bigfoots. They're not seeing bears either. Very seldom do you really run across these large predators out there. So there's a great case to be made for that Bigfoot is out there. And if you watch some of these things, you start to say, well, we're not seeing Bigfoot, but are we? Some of these clips are really fascinating. And that's what I'm going to do this afternoon, to search through some more of that YouTube and watch some of these fascinating things that we yet don't know. And that's where I really have a problem with people like Dr. Hawass who say, oh, we already know everything. And that's a problem with our medicine too. We're saying this is the way the body works, and now we see something wrong that doesn't quite fit in. Well, now we have to change that. No, our body's working fine. We just have to get back to.
We have to get out of the way.
We have to get out of the way.
This is really huge because it really is saying these traditional cultures that have been left primarily untouched have 30 to 40% more microbiota diversity.
Yes.
And even a researcher at New York's Langone Medical Center said that this may be the link to the increase in the past several decades of immunological and metabolic diseases that we are just inundated with, such as asthma, allergies, diabetes, obesity, cancer, etc.
Again, they're symptoms of our modern society. Not only do we have the behavior problems, but we have all these sicknesses and things that we kind of take for granted. Well, this is going to happen to us because we're getting older. I'm here to tell you that's not the case. There are lots of ways you can do this and start exploring.
So where do we go wrong to start?
We started agriculture, I think, was the biggest mistake.
But what do we do now? Okay, so that's here.
We just get away from.
We don't breastfeed our babies to term. And that is the whole purpose of breastfeeding your baby to term, is to build their microbiota. So if you know someone, if you love someone, you love your child, your grandchild, encourage them to breastfeed their babies to term. Some people feel they should be exclusively breastfed to 12 to 18 months. Forget about introducing the foods. If you notice, they don't even want them. But at least breastfeed them with the foods.
At least a couple of years. In the wild, it's 4 to 5 years. The babies are close. They feel comfortable. No need to cry. It's a whole different world. Start exploring something like that. Anyway, we're out of time. We'll continue this next week. Thanks a lot for sticking around.
Everyone have a wonderful weekend. Stay healthy, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Live a primal lifestyle.
Yes.
Basil Chapman has just announced 2 live workshops that he'll be hosting April 27th and May 5th that only subscribers to his opening call will gain access to. On April 27th, Basil will host a 45-minute live online workshop, The Essentials of the Chapman Wave, where he'll teach the basics of the Chapman Wave notation that Basil created and uses daily in his trading and newsletter recommendations. On May 5th, Basil will host a second 45-minute workshop where this time he'll revisit the 1929 market comparison webinar and provide his attendees with an updated take on the socio-economic trends Basil has spotted currently taking place. If you're an opening call subscriber already, then your seat is already reserved. If not, then sign up for a 30-day free trial to the opening call today. You get a month of Basil's daily newsletter, The Opening Call, along with 2 live workshops coming up. Don't miss out on this offer. Sign up for Basil Chapman's opening call newsletter today on the front page of TFNN.com.
You're watching Tiger TV.